Let's talk about what kind of items go into a revocable living trust. This kind of a trust is a document that folks create to hold their assets while they're alive. They can manage their assets and hold them in there while they're alive, and then whatever is in the trust passes at death the way the trust says. So it's a way of holding your assets and saying what happens to them when you die. The kind of assets that go into a revocable trust, it really depends on your circumstances, but common assets include real estate, including things like your primary residence, investment properties, vacation homes, bank accounts, savings accounts, checking accounts, money markets, also things like stock accounts, brokerage accounts, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, those sorts of things. You can also put business interests into a trust. And in that way, if you own a business and something happens to you, your successor trustee can manage the business. So this can include partnerships, limited liability companies, even corporations. You can assign your interest, depending on whether it's allowed by the company. People also put their intellectual property into revocable living trusts. Patents, trademarks, copyrights, that sort of thing. I also put personal property into trusts, things like jewelry, artwork, your forks, things that you want to pass at death that are material things, not assets held in an institution. Also, digital assets can be included in a trust, things like websites, things that you may want to have managed once something happens to you. In general, we don't fund retirement accounts or life insurance to a trust. We deal with those with beneficiary designations. Generally, we'll have life insurance pay into a trust when the insured person dies. And retirement accounts, those we tend to pass to another adult if at all possible. You can have your retirement pay into your trust. The problem is more of your retirement will go to taxes if you do it that way than if it pays to an actual person. That's kind of a complicated topic for this video. But in general, life insurance and retirement stay outside of the trust, and we deal with them with beneficiary designations. So if you have a revocable living trust, it's really, really important to make sure it's properly funded. It's not guaranteed to work for you if it's not properly funded. Properly funded means that you have moved the assets that should be in the trust into the trust so that the institutions that are holding those assets know that you consider them titled to the trust and they consider them titled to the trust as well. That makes things much easier when somebody needs to take over the trust and manage the assets in there. If your assets aren't titled to the trust, it can mean that your assets will end up going through probate, which is often a reason that most people have a trust is because they want to avoid probate. So making sure that your assets are properly titled to your trust is really the most important part of having a trust, in my opinion. If you'd like to chat more about this, I'd be happy to. Give me a call.